Good morning again. Let's take another deep breath, shall we? Breathe in and let go. Another deep breath. Let go. One more collective deep breath in and letting go. So, as we have been walking through the year of 2022, at this center each month, loosely using the 12 basic principles of permaculture as described by David Holmgren as our 12 months themes. And so last month our theme was use and value renewable energy. And this month our theme is, oh no, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Our theme this month is catch and store energy. And, right? Use and value renewables last month, catch and store energy this month. And last week we began this topic as really first focusing on ourselves and realizing and claiming for ourselves that actually the thing we each one of us need to do in order to learn how to thrive, in order to live sustainable lives, in order to be impactful in the world, is really pay attention to how we personally catch and store our physical energy, right? And we talked a lot about prioritizing self-care and really finding the spiritual practices that bring us back to ourselves, back to our deep truth, back to vision, so that when the world knocks us aside, when things look really terrible, when all of those unfortunate circumstances show up, we have the energy to show up for what we need for and not feel like we're being completely depleted over time, right? And so this week, the theme we're going to be exploring is this idea that it is together that we truly thrive. Together we thrive, right? And that's kind of also been one of our taglines of this whole year, is really about the power of being together in community, right? That when we feel like we're standing alone, there's only so much that we feel that we can do, right? And when difficult things come our way, when the pain of life shows up, it's really community. It's the people around us that we have to hold us in the darkest and most difficult moments that I think is really the thing that leads us to truly thriving as individuals. You know, we as humans are mammals, we are pack animals, we belong together, right? And no one of us can survive on our own. We just can't. We might think we can. The world might have told us that we're supposed to stand up on our own and pull ourselves out from our bootstraps and do it all by ourselves. But guess what? That's not real. That leads to the depletion of the individual, right? It leads us to feeling angry and unseen. And yet what is so important, especially in these times, is for us to feel like we have a place where we can truly be held and seen by our community, by the people who can remind us of who we are, of what we truly believe, of what we stand for, and who we want to be in the world. Because it's oh so easy to forget when we're alone. Right? And, you know, there's a song that's been cycling around in my mind all week as I've been thinking about this, and it's a song that we've heard here many times over the last year, and it's Tending the Spark by Heather Houston, who's sitting over there. And she'll be with us next week again. But, you know, I keep thinking about the first line of that song, which says, "And we will care for each other as the world around us unravels. And we will tend to the spark of the hope that lives within our grieving hearts. And we are here now. We have come together, lifting our voices and hearts." Right? And so often, that song comes up for me as my deep prayer and my deep mantra for this community, right? Because so many of us look out and we feel like the world around us is unraveling. We feel like all of the structures that have given us stability are falling away. We see our nation and our planet changing rapidly in front of us. And for many of us, it feels like we're in the midst of a great unraveling. And the thing that song reminds me of is that it's together that we're going to get through this. It's together that we're going to make the changes that we need to make. It's in the support of community. It's when we rally together as a movement. It's when we stand together for greater truths that we as a collective can actually make great change in the world, right? And the more we see the world falling apart, the more the invitation is there for us to fall together, to lean into each other, and to realize that there is so much more strength when we hold on to each other. You know, a single strand can be broken easily, but when you create a braid, it is so much stronger, right? And that really what we do when we come together in community is we are weaving in and out of each other's lives. We are sharing in each other's consciousness. We are being in the influence of each other. And it's that collective influence that is the uplift that we all need in order to get through the things that are in front of us, right? And how sweet it is to be able to come into a space like this where we can be rallied by community, where we can be uplifted together, where we can remember that we're not alone and there are people who are around us that really, truly want to see and remind us of who we are. You know, one of the things that I just absolutely love about this community is how often the experience comes back where we are reflecting to each other deeper truths about who we are. When we come together in classes, when we greet each other in service, when we come together in this space, there's an invitation to lift our minds to a higher place and to see in a different way than maybe we're able to every day of the week. But we come to this space to be reminded of what it truly feels like to be in harmony, to be in connection, to be in love. And we need places that are easy to practice this when it's difficult to do it in real life, you know? And so we create this space where we can step out of our regular routine and be in a space where we're reminded that there's something more at work here, right? And you know, I think about all of the things we've begun to do here at Center for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz in the last year. And there are so many opportunities to come to this place throughout the week and throughout the month, to drop into this space we call community, to be in these opportunities, to be reminded about the deeper truths about who you are. That's why we have our ministers and practitioners. That's why we have our discussion groups and classes and all the activities that are happening here, so that each one of us has a way to truly feel like we can tap into that thing that inspires and lifts us up. And one of the things that we've been saying as we've moved out of the building and really begun to inhabit the property, right? There's a lot that happens in the front lawn and in the backyard and around the thing, and there's people here doing gardening and planting food. There's a whole lot of energy building in this place. And one of the things I've been saying for the last year is let's use this 0.9 acres that we have right here and the community of people who are collecting in this space and the land that we have and the services that we offer. Let's use this place as an opportunity to build a template of what a world that works look like, of what a community that thrives looks like. We have this little postage stamp on planet Earth that's ours to be a steward of, right? And we can grow food. We can acknowledge the history that's here. We can begin to create an inclusive and diverse and welcoming community. We can learn to create containers where both our grief and our joy are allowed. Here we have the opportunity to build an example for ourselves and for our community at large, what it looks like when people come together with a dream of co-thriving, right? And that is the thing we're seeking to build here, right? It's an energy, but it's also an activity. It's a thought, but it's also about doing. Right? And there are people in this community who are doing a lot for the world. There are a lot of us here who feel like we are in service to that which is necessary. And in order to keep doing that, guess what, friends? We've got to have a place to come back and get charged up, to be reminded of why we're doing this and how much love and possibility there really is in the world, even if the world wants to tell us that something else is happening. We get to choose what we focus on. And what we focus on grows. And what we give ourselves to, there will be more of in the world. Right? And so we have to become a people of possibility and lean into each other, because sometimes when I forget, guess what? You remind me. And if you forget, come to me and I'll remind you. Right? So that we can remember that each one of us is here on purpose, for a purpose, with purpose, to serve life, to serve each other, to serve the world, to serve the God of our own understanding. Because what I know is that when we've heard me say this 1,001 times, when we choose to do or be something, the entirety of the universe rises up to meet us and make sure we really want what we say we want. Right? And so we continuously stand here every week and say, we're calling in a vision of a world that works for everyone. And then every time I leave this door, the world says, oh yeah? And I say, yes. Yes. And I'm going to continuously choose to vote for, to purchase, to step into, to claim, to allow all of the things that lead to the thriving in the way that I see it. And I invite each one of us to do that, to have a vision that is so captivating of where we think we're going that it then informs every other choice that we make. Right? And oftentimes the issue that some of us or some of them out there experience is that we say we have a vision, we say we have a belief, we say we have a direction that's going this way, and then we find ourselves going this way. Right? And that cognitive dissonance creates a whole lot of dis-ease and discomfort and breakdown and separation. And it's when we're in alignment with our purpose, we say we have a vision, we know what truth we're following, and then we align ourselves with it in our life. Right? It's not just about thinking happy thoughts. That's useful. But do something with it. Move it into the world and be a place where the new thought actually shows up and happens and is shared and acted upon. Okay? Yes. So we're going to keep cultivating this idea as we go through the month, but that's enough for now. So take a deep breath in and let it go. Take another deep breath and let go. One more deep breath in. And so as we breathe together, I first invite each one of us to just contemplate or remember that we are being breathed by something greater than ourselves. Ernest Holmes says there is a power for good in this universe, and it is greater than we are, and yet we can use it, that it uses us. And so I invite us first to just be in this space of contemplation that there is actually one seamless presence that is living and breathing throughout the entirety of the universe, that it is this one life, this one shared breath, that is the life of the planet, that is the life of everyone and everything in our world. That indeed the entirety of the universe is one great wholeness. And I believe, I claim, know, and declare in this moment that that one is consciousness, that it is alive, that it is the who that I am, that each one of us is. That it is this one presence who's speaking through me in this moment, but it is also that same one who is hearing these words through each one of us. And so let us remember here and now that each one of us is life unfolding, that each one of us is evolution moment by moment. But let us be a place where evolution is happening by choice and not by chance. Let us be the place where expansion and possibility bring themselves into our world. Let each one of us claim, know, and declare our highest vision for ourselves, for our community, and the world, and then align our actions and our deeds with those thoughts. So that we say what we want, and then we move towards it. Continuously returning back to this sacred container that we call community, to be re-energized, to be revitalized, to be reminded of the deeper truths about who we are, so that we feel and know that we are working with a power for good greater than we are, and each one of us becomes a place where it enacts itself into the world. And so I speak a word of gratitude for each person in this community, for each person who says yes to themselves and yes to a higher vision and yes to living into the change that is necessary. I speak a word of gratitude for all of it. And so let us just step ever deeper into the vision, into community, into possibility, and open ourselves to be a place where that something greater enacts through us, bringing about the greater good for ourselves, for our community, and for our world. And so I claim and declare all of this once again simply by saying yes. And so it is.